I had a dream a few weeks ago, one so vivid it still sticks within my mind today. I was a Miran civilian watching the takeover of my home plane by phyrexia. I saw my friends and family be taken, turned, made into horrific metal monstrosities. I feared and dreaded the day that they would come for me too. And then they did. I felt the oil seeping within my veins. I felt myself trying to fight back against the corruption spreading throughout my body. Then I felt myself giving in, giving up. It had broken me. Oil seeped into my brain and was corrupting my very thoughts. I embraced the phyrexia. I saw the glory of the praetors, and it was like meeting a god. Their divinity became so evident to me, like it was just a simple fact of life. And then I woke up. Phyrexia has always spoken to me. Years ago, when I was but a small child, I saw those cards within my father's collection. Those rows of teeth, those black exoskeletons that exposed flesh. It called to me. My first deck was a mono-black discard deck focused on Order of Yavgmoth. It was not very good, don't get me wrong, but it felt good. It felt right. It felt complete. When I was getting back into Magicthegathering as a teenager, and saw there was going to be a whole block centered around new phyrexia, I was ecstatic. Those cards, they were my childhood, they were my calling. I read the stories they published online, I went to the drafts, I went to the pre-releases. It was fantastic. Allwillbeone was, and still probably is, my favorite set of all time. And then they released March of the Machines. It was not a good follow-up. The story fizzled out into nothing. I was outraged. I was unsatisfied. So in this video, I'll take a glimpse into another world, a better world. I'll write a story that doesn't go as poorly, starting at the end of All Will Be One. First change that I would like to make is to separate March of the Machines into two separate sets. The first, March of the Machines, set code MOM, will be focused on Phyrexia's invasion of the multiverse, showing how each plane tries, and inevitably fails, to resist. The second, Scars of Zalfir, is about the Teferis, Zalfir and Strike Force invading New Phyrexia and winning the war. So let's start with March of the Machines. After the Strike Team's defeat in the Seed Core and Elspeth's planes walk to an unknown location within the filigree silex. At this point, Phyrexia's invasion of the multiverse has started. Koth and Kaito and Tyvar, Ren and Chandra, all scattered within New Phyrexia. Teferi and Elspeth are MIA. Tamio, Ajani, Jace, Vraska, Nissa, Luca, and Nahiri are all complete. Things are looking green. Our story starts by showing a collection of planes and showing how they're responding to the invasion. There's a few I'll spotlight, but you can assume the rest go quite close to how they went in the MOM we got. First, on Ixalan. In a cruel irony, Norn sends both Jace and Vraska to Ixalan, where they met. They command a fleet of invasion craft against the combined might of the plane's navies. Jace and Vraska love each other, twisted, amplified by the Phyrexian oil into a cruel mockery. As their fleets clash with the navies of the Sun Empire and the Brazen Coalition, Jace and Vraska face off against Angrath on their mothership, who return to defend Ixalan after the events of the War of the Spark. Jace and Vraska ultimately come out on top, but are both horribly scarred by the battle, being forced to planeswalk to the surgical bay for repairs. In Kaldheim, the Phyrexian invasion completes many of the worlds completely, and many of the great gods of the plane too. Chief among them, Koma, the Cosmos Serpent. A completed Koma wraps and coils around the branches of a Realmbreaker, its flesh being seen in the skies of most planes. I add this detail because I'm incredibly peeved we never got a completed Koma card. So cool. Meanwhile, in the blind eternities, Elspeth speaks to an unknown presence. Its voice reminds her of her mother. It speaks of how brave Elspeth's sacrifice was, of how she truly has the heart of an angel. It gives her a choice, Live with it forever in this place, safe from all the dangers of the world, or return to Phyrexia to finish what she started as an archangel. The last story of the set would highlight the fairy on Zalfir, where he tries to explain the situation to the Zalfiran military, which is still prepared for a Phyrexian invasion from the last time. Then, one of Worldbreaker's branches pierces through the veil the fairy created to protect the plane. He finally re-establishes psychic contact with the rest of the Gatewatch, and quickly contacts whoever he can find. Now, a detail I would love to include would be the destruction, or at least near destruction, of a plane to the invasion. Maybe even 2, or even 3. We need some actual stakes. We need someone to completely collapse to it. My first proposal would be New Capenna, since they have a history with Phyrexians. In the story we got, they dropped the city onto Atraxa to kill her, so maybe we could have them be forced to do something even more drastic that renders the plane nigh uninhabitable. Maybe they could figure out a way to convert matter directly into Halo, but the only way to use it is to detonate the entire plane, leaving a massive blob of Halo within the blind eternities. Another plane I thought of would be Innistrad. They've faced apocalypses before, so they would no doubt recover from this one too. But maybe they would be completely overwhelmed by Phyrexia at the point where the remaining resistance needs to unseal Emrakul in a last-ditch effort to survive. Their moon cracks in half and the promised end comes for all, Phyrexian and Innistrader alike. Maybe we could have Dominaria face an event that leads to another global ice age, paralleling the first invasion. Something cool like that. I'm certain the professional writers could have come up with something satisfying. On to our third set, Scars of Zalfir, set code ZHA. Zalfir's story would focus on the multiverse fighting back against Phyrexia in their own ways, maybe even winning against them in the end. Our story opens at the headquarters of the Mirran Resistance in the Autonomous Furnace. The collaboration between the Mirrans and Urabrask is evident now. It's clear they're running on borrowed time until Eleshnorn comes strike them down. The remaining planeswalkers sit around a table with Urabrask present. They're discussing whatever last-ditch efforts they could muster up to save the multiverse, or at least some part of it. That's when they receive the fairy's mental Asogas call. Tyvar, remembering Realmbreaker, is grown from the sap of the World Tree on his home plane, just as Vren try and bond with it. Maybe if everyone could draw Norn's attention away from her, Kaya helped her sneak into the seed core, they could pull it off. Phyrexia has already invaded most planes, but maybe there's some fragment they could save if they manage to destroy the tree now, right? Vren is hesitant. She knows what happened to Luca when he bonded with a Phyrexian beast, but realizes it may just be their last option. In the end, she agrees. They draft a plan, a full frontal assault on the fair Basilica. Vren, Kaya, and Chandra, the only ones not present. Urabrask agrees to the plan, on one condition. He hands Chandra a vial of deep black oil. If I die, I want you to find a plane devoid of intelligent life somewhere within the multiverse, and I want you to scatter this. I'm willing to sacrifice myself, even my people, to end Norn, but I will not sacrifice my great one. Chandra hesitates. Wasn't ending Phyrexia for good the whole reason they were doing this? Wouldn't this just mean all their work is moot, and someone has to deal with the same problem in however many generations it takes? Before anyone can speak up, Urabrask opens his mouth again. I want you to swear upon the life of your mother. I want you to look me in the eyes and swear you'll do it. Only then will I continue with this plan. Enough! I'll do it! Kaido speaks up, grabs the vial, stowing it within his satchel. I swear on the life of all that I hold dear, I will let you continue your great work. Good. Then let us set off. Urabrask tells his attendants something in Phyrexian, and the group assembles outside. The legions stand ready. The rest of the first story would follow Urabrask's strike back against Norn, and Vren's journey to the seed core, ending with her bonding with the invasion tree. She does, she simultaneously sees the entire multiverse, every person, every life, all that is contained within the blind eternities. It's too much for her to bear, of course, but before she breaks, she manages to force the tree in the pool of halo left behind after Nugapina destroyed itself. The halo creeps down and up the branches of the tree, healing it from the phyrexia and corruption, restoring its vulnerability to fire, but also raining down on the invasion forces below. Maybe there is still hope. That is, of course, until a shadowy figure shows up within the seed core, forcing Kaya to protect Vren as she expends the last of her power, and as Chandra starts to immolate the tree, burning it to an ash. Our second story would follow up on the plot involving Jace and Vraska from my alternate March of the Machines. It opens with Jace and Vraska planeswalking into the surgical bay, both brutally beaten from their battle on Ixalan. There's much left of either, missing limbs, organs, maybe even half a brain. It'd be terribly difficult to salvage each of them to a functional state in the short time Jin-Gitaxias has. That is, until he gets an idea. This idea gives birth to one of ZHA's Planeswalker cards, and our first Planeswalker with two subtypes. A twisted monstrosity made up of whatever is left of Jace and Vraska. I call it Jaska, Love's Embrace. It would be a blue-black-green planeswalker with the subtype Jace Vraska. I'm not certain what it'd do, but some fun Sultai bullshit. I'm sure they could come up with something over in the design team. Of course, this means we get our first two planeswalkers to die from this block, Jace and Vraska. I feel their arc being brought to a close by them being fused together would be a nice conclusion, if a bit grim. Once the Phyrexian oil sustaining them gets plot devised away, I'm sure they'd just die on the spot. Kaya calls out for help, not being able to stand Jace and Vraska's combined might. No one answers, she's almost dead. A knife to her throat. Chandra has managed to set the tree alight and turns to fight against Jace and Vraska. But they overpower her quite quickly, putting her in the same position as Kaya was. That is, until Elspeth appears. She chose to come help her friends and allies, passing the test given to her and ascending to an archangel. Full fight scene where Elspeth faces off with Jaska ensues, eventually killing it. In Elspeth's spite. As the invasion tree, now incomplete, starts to crumble and fall, so does Vren. She only has Kaya, Elspeth, Chandra to keep her company in her dying moments. And after her death, a seed is left behind where she once lay. Chandra plants it into the corrupt soil of the land. A small spot around it starts to heal. Over in the Fair Basilica, things are looking grim. No one has Urabrask overpowered. It's starting to overwhelm his troops. That is, until the Fair arrives. It does a very similar thing to our timeline, warping from Zalfir to New Phyrexia with the combined might of the Zalfiran Knights. They fight back against Norn and eventually overpower her with Elspeth's help. A reassembled Karn rips off Hellish Norn's head, her body dropping to the ground lifeless. But the drones don't stop. Urabrask realizes they'll have to kill him and all the other praetors. He kneels before Karn, knowing his fate. I fought long and hard to bring my great work to completion. I resisted the mother of machines' lies. I knew her deeds were wrong. Each and every one of my people joined my side willingly, their goals completely aligned with mine. Slay me now, father of machines, so my great work may be complete elsewhere. Khan rips off Urabrask's head and his corpse falls to the ground, lifeless. Jin-Gitaxias hears of the defeat of Jaska and the end of Norn, rushes to try and pull the planar bridge out of Deseret, who he has in his operating room, the transfer to a new black steel body that he had been promised still underway. In response, almost instinctually, Deseret activates the planar bridge, sending Jin-Gitaxias off to somewhere unknown. Vorinclex has made his way onto Innistrad at some point previous. He heard of the massive monster breaking out of the plane's moon and knew he couldn't let his status as apex predator go challenged. He actually manages to put up a fight against Emrakul for a while, but he's slowly worn down, unable to win against an eldritch monstrosity from beyond the veil of reality. Lastly, Sheoldred, the rat that she is, has finally gained all the power to herself. Every Phyrexian within the multiverse obeying her direct orders. She did it. She's at the top. She's the mother of machines. And then she feels it. Sharp sting in her back. One of the 7 Thegans. Sting of betrayal courses through her body for a brief moment before consciousness gives out. Now, with the invasion tree gone and all the praetors dead, most Phyrexians are rendered inert. Some more powerful ones, such as the Thanes, or are still completed planeswalkers, and still command a small group of drones. But nothing on the scale Phyrexia saw previous. Most are slowly wiped out by local resistance on the planes they roam. But that takes time. For the next 7 sets at least. A while. Few years we'd still see Phyrexians popping up in individual sets as local resistance has to clear them out. Most of the scattered remains of the Gatewatch leave Phyrexia, or as they'd call it now, New Mirrodin. Some stay behind to help recover and revive the land, or wipe out the rest of the Phyrexian resistance. I'd have the rest of the story play out much the same. Ajani and Nissa are incomplete, while Nahiri still roams the multiverse. The change I'd make is to not have Nahiri recover from Phyresis, as that would be a fun string to pull on for a future plot. And that was it. Let me know how you enjoyed this, my probably longest video yet. Please let me know what you thought of in the comments below, what you liked, what you didn't, all that kind of thing. Leave a like if you enjoyed. Leave a dislike if you didn't enjoy, and remember, all will be one.